Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. So what do Tacoma owners wish they had known before they ever bought the truck? I was thinking about this myself. You know, you go to the lot, you cruise around a little bit, but you can't possibly cover everything. You can't research everything until you actually drive the truck. So here's a list of the things that Toyota Tacomers wish they'd have known before they actually bought the truck. Number one, and this one I find kind of strange, but you can't charge your cell phone when the truck is turned off. In other words, you couldn't go park somewhere, maybe run in, grab some stuff, come back out and have your phone charging. Now, I think it's a good thing that you can't, because what if you forget, you drive home, you leave it on for days? Who's going to lose their phone for days? They're such an integral part of everything now, which is probably why people have said that they wish they had known that before they bought the truck. But it's kind of a fail-safe thing, so if you have something plugged in, maybe your kids left an iPad plugged in or something, so that it doesn't run the battery down. Number two, the bed is composite plastic and not steel. You know, it's kind of funny. I would have thought that after all the time that the Toyota Tacoma has been using a composite plastic bed, that people would realize it's not steel. But I do have to say, until just a few years ago, I wasn't even aware of that myself. I was actually digging around under the truck looking to do some kind of a mod, and I saw this tub sitting there. And I thought, gee, that looks like the same material as what I see from the top. And sure enough, what I was looking at was the actual bed. It was not steel. I really had no idea myself. Now, I will say I haven't had any troubles with it. You know, on previous Tacomas, I've hauled dirt and gravel and shoveled in there and stuff and never had any damage done to the bed or anything. So I don't think there's any big problem with having a composite bed, but it's just something that a lot of people say they wish they had known before they bought the bed, or the truck, I should say. Number three, the bed is only 5 feet long. This is another one I find kind of strange. I mean, it is a smaller truck. It is a mid-sized truck. Certainly, unless you buy a long bed, you wouldn't expect that you're going to have a really long bed. And they're not even that long in the full size anymore. They're wide, but they're really not even that long, even in the bigger trucks. What it means, I suppose, to a lot of people, or a lot of people have said, is that you can't haul things like 4x8 sheets of plywood or 8-foot long 2x4s unless you do something extra. You know, add one of those bed extenders, maybe prop the tailgate up a little bit so you can kind of hang things out of the back. You can still do it, but obviously it's not as easy as if you had a long bed and you could just throw something in there and shut the gate, or even just tie it down a little bit, even if you had to leave the gate open, I guess. Number four, back to the bed. Once again, the composite bed. And this one I understand. This is a big one, especially if you live in an area that gets a colder winter climate where everything is all brittle and slippery. And that is, the bed is slippery. And it really is. It's like ice back there. I mean, when you're out cruising around with anything in the bed that isn't supported by each side or tied down, things are going to move all over the place. You know, I did a video a while back. It was a little experiment. I put a cooler and some other stuff in there and then just went out and drove around. And man, that thing was slamming around all over the place in the bed. Of course, there's a couple of ways to combat that. The easiest and probably the cheapest is to just go ahead and buy a bed mat. You know, for 80 to $100, or even 40 or 50 bucks if you buy one of those stall mats at Tractor Supply. You can put those in the back and they do the job. Things stick to that mat like it has glue on it. It was a complete difference. Again, I did a video on it. After I had put one of those in, nothing even moved. Now, it's not to say that if you're not out driving crazy, taking corners at 90 mile an hour, or maybe you're off-road bouncing all over the place, you still would need to tie things down because that mat is not going to hold them. But it's much better than nothing at all. The other option is to have it coated with something, some kind of urethane or some kind of rubbery material, or even a Line-X bed liner type stuff. And for me, that seems kind of overkill. You have a composite bed, you're not really needing to protect it from rust or really any kind of damage unless you're really rough on it. I would just go with a bed mat. Best way to do it, in my opinion. Next up, gas mileage. The gas mileage is not as good as what the manufacturer claims. Toyota, in other words. And I have found this to be true. You know, I've done a lot of mods and things to the truck, granted, but I'm still getting pretty low gas mileage. I mean 14, 15, maybe 16 miles per gallon if I, really go easy on the pedal. But it's been that way ever since I've had it. I mean, it's never been great, and I've never attained the fuel economy numbers that Toyota says I'm going to get. Probably because they drive it in ideal conditions. They're trying to get the best that they can, and who drives in ideal conditions at least all the time? I mean, we have these things called hills. Of course, there's wind, and the climate even affects it. And then we have the different grades of gas. I had somebody comment on the channel recently about they're getting really poor gas mileage. I think it was in California, and California had just switched to a winter grade gas. Well, that's going to make a difference. We get different fuel economy or different mileage numbers based upon the time of the year and the gasoline that is available for the truck. Number 6, the Toyota Tacoma is slow. That's for sure. Again, I think this is kind of like when you go to the dealership and you're experiencing something new. It always feels pretty good unless it's really bad. And the Toyota Tacoma is not horrible until you have it for a while and you get used to driving it, and then you realize how slow it is. Of course, there are solutions to that. The pedal commander gets rid of that lag, and it's really because of lag. It's not because Toyota has an undersized engine or anything. It's just the way they set it up, the way it's tuned. It's set up for the best fuel economy you can have. They do that by dumbing down the truck, making it laggy. Get the pedal commander. You'll be amazed at the difference that it makes. Number 7, the Toyota Tacoma keeps costing you more and more money. Now, that is for sure, and it's not because of maintenance or problems or anything like that. It's because it's so moddable. Once you get the truck, if you notice those kind of things, you're going to see other Tacomas driving around. You're going to see things that they've done. Maybe you're trying to increase its capability. If you're an off-roader, you want to add things to it, maybe lift it, maybe put some sliders on it, some lights, all kinds of things that you can do to the truck. And of course, that costs more money. And I have found that once you get rolling and you start doing mods and things to the Tacoma, it doesn't stop. It's addictive. There's always things that you want to do to it. Plus, it's fun. It makes owning the truck a heck of a lot more fun than just leaving it as stock and doing nothing to it. It's funny. I've had some people comment on the channel telling me I should just leave the truck alone, or I should have bought a truck that already had all this stuff on it. I'm a YouTuber. Plus, I enjoy doing it. Doesn't make a lot of sense for me to buy a finished truck. Anyway, those are just a few things that people, Toyota Tacoma owners, wish they had known before they actually bought the truck. Leave a comment. Let me know. What did you find out after you wrote that check that you wish you'd have known before you bought the truck? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. RobMotive, JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator, and Mod Driven, all about mods currently to the Mercedes-Benz C300. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.